I thought if there was anyone that could maybe release a new shooter game in 2026 and have it at least do well, it would probably be Bungie. I was being hopeful, I will admit. I was at least willing to give Bungie the benefit of the doubt. But after seeing how the first day of Marathon has gone down in history, I'm halfway convinced that even my lowest of expectations are not being met. And Bungie, they might be cooked after all. But before we begin, let's hear a word from the sponsor of this video, War Thunder. War Thunder is a free-to-play military action game. If you're into military vehicles at all, that means tanks, planes, helicopters, ships, War Thunder is still one of the absolute best free-to-play experiences out there that you can play today. There's over 2,500 highly detailed vehicles recreated from real historical blueprints and surviving examples in the game, from early World War II classics all the way up to cutting-edge modern jets, attack helos like the Apache Longbow variants, and even next-gen main battle tanks to name a few. Like, the sheer variety available here is kind of insane. You can also immerse yourself in ground battles with detailed damage models and shoot modules, crews, ammo racks, and more. It's a game where you can actually feel the tactical depth that's on display, and there's also air combat that has options like flight models, energy fighting, and modern missiles, fire and forget helmet-mounted sights on top of some tiers, which all actually make the dogfights pretty intense, as well as a naval combat with massive destroyers and cruisers and carriers too. And you also have combined armed modes with ground forces that can also engage in huge maps. The game is also evolving all of the time too, with regular massive updates that drop new vehicles. Nations also get new upgrades as well. There's better crew systems, and there's also full cross-play, which means that PC, PlayStation, and Xbox players are all in the same massive battles together. So queue times are really fast and the community is huge, so you can never have to worry about finding your next match. You can play War Thunder for free on PC, PlayStation, Xbox, or mobile devices now by using my links in the pinned comment or the video description. New and returning players on PC and consoles that haven't played in the last 6 months will also receive a massive bonus pack that includes multiple premium vehicles, the exclusive vehicle decorator Eagle of Valor, 100,000 Silver Lions, and 7 days of premium account. It's available for a limited time, so be quick and make sure to click the link. And the game is also heavily optimized, and you don't even need extra hardware to play it. There's also in-depth customization with countless camos, historical markings, and decorations for all kinds of vehicles. What impressed me the most is the fact that there's a game mode for any sort of player. There's Arcade, which is for fast-paced matches where vehicle performance and physics are simplified. Then there's Realistic mode, which has a balance between intensity and authenticity, and there's also a brand new mobile version available on iOS and Android as well. Again, thank you to War Thunder for sponsoring this video. Don't forget to play for free on PC, PlayStation, Xbox, or mobile now by using my links in the pinned comment or video description. And remember that new and returning players that haven't played in 6 months will receive a massive bonus pack across PC and consoles, including multiple premium vehicles and other goodies available for limited time only, so make sure not to miss it. And now, let's get back to the video. There's a lot of reasons for this. Some may say because it's a live service, but I don't think so necessarily. Since Bungie has been doing live service games for a really long time now, I mean, in a way, a lot of other games' successful blueprints of how to do live service were actually based on how Bungie developed and kept Destiny going for so long. When you reasonably think about Destiny, despite its many problems, I know, the fact that Destiny 1 and 2 have been around now for 12 years, they're not offline, and those games have made likely millions if not billions in profit, it is really impressive. But that being said, I think Marathon was just everything that no one wanted. Some live service games can be good, I know. I still play Marvel Rivals to this day, not every day, but I do play it, and I can see the appeal to some degree, but Marathon just isn't it seems. So what the hell happened? Well, as seen here via Steam charts, Marathon debuted at 88,337 players at its peak yesterday. It has since gone down to around 52, almost 53,000 players on Steam as of me making this video. That is a concerning drop. I can already hear some say, well, it released on a weekday, what do you expect? But then again, so did Arc Raiders. And Arc Raiders, another live service game, obviously, was able to surpass over 150,000 players day one despite this. And also, it was really impressive for Arc Raiders because it was a brand new IP from a developer with really only one other game behind them, which was the Finals. So the fact that Arc Raiders did what it did and still is going, it's kind of insane, really. Again, some live service games can bring value like an Arc Raiders or a Marvel Rivals, but with Marathon, it's just confusing. This is Bungie, right? Like, these are the people who made Destiny, Halo, apparently. Why is this happening? A big problem with Marathon from what I've seen so so far is that one, its UI is still a complete mess to navigate, like I said in another Marathon video already. There was gonna be no way that Bungie would be able to fix Marathon's UI problems before launch. It just wouldn't happen. I mean, that server slam was only a week ago. What you played in that server slam was Marathon as it would be if you bought into the game day one. There's no point in denying that now. Anyone who says that the server slam was some older version of Marathon is just kidding themselves. It's the same game. Just now you have to pay $40 USD to play it. Either way, it's not looking good, as the kids say. The other problem is that Marathon is highly competitive by nature, which I mean, if you're into that sort of thing, then yeah, this game is for you. Unfortunately, for most people, that's not really what they want to see from Bungie. Because to be honest, Bungie hasn't been able to nail their PvP elements of their games for a really long time now. Halo, yes, probably, but Destiny 1 and 2, for example, they were a very hit or miss experience when it came to its PvP modes alone. Obviously, because Destiny as a franchise had way too much going on to ever really make their PvP balanced. From the guns you could craft, the exotic weapons, all the abilities and supers, exotic armor and builds, and all the effects. Yeah, it made PvP basically a free-for-all nonsense that no one, no matter how good they were, could ever really balance. Marathon, to me, the way I felt after playing the server slam at least, it felt like Bungie was taking the worst parts of Destiny, that being its PvP, and thinking, you know what, let's turn that part into an entire game, while also not realizing the real reason why people enjoy Bungie games is actually its world building and its PvE elements, just to name a few. Sure, Marathon has those elements, although it may vary on how much you actually enjoy it, but either way, you can't exactly compare Marathon's PvE elements to, say, Destiny, or hell, even competition like Arc Raiders. The problem there is that Arc Raiders and the Arc enemies that they have, the robots you can fight, they each have unique characteristics and how you can deal with them. The way you deal with the drone-like enemies who hover above you is going to be completely different to how you will deal with the bigger threats, or the little, ball robots that can swarm you really fast too. With Marathon, the vast majority of its PvE enemies are essentially, I mean, let's be real guys, they're reskinned Fallen or Cabal enemy types from Destiny, and they all kind of do the same thing pretty much. They're just big robots that you shoot until they die, which is fine, I guess, if PvP is your focus. But if most people don't come to Marathon for the PvP, then the part they do want is just lacking. Well then, what are we doing, right? Now, do I think Marathon will die as quickly as, say, Concord or Highguard? No, I don't. I think PlayStation, which owns Bungie now, is far too heavily invested here with Marathon to give up that fast at least. If I had to guess, Marathon probably has at least a 6-month window of a lifeline before Sony pulls that plug entirely. But I may be being too wishful or lenient there, given how volatile the genre of games are, of course, because as we learned from Highguard, usually how it goes down is the investors help fund the game until it officially launches, at which point it's then up to the game itself to prove that it can exist via the money that it makes from cosmetics and whatever else they're selling. Highguard made basically zero money, which is why Tencent walked away immediately, and now the game is effectively dead. Marathon has to make a lot of money, like a lot, from its cosmetics, but as of right now, it's far too early to say if Bungie is raking in the dough or not. It's just too early. And Marathon's cosmetics at launch are, well, here, you can look at them yourself. Like, as you can see on screen, this is them. These are all the paid cosmetics at launch for Marathon as of right now. I gotta be honest, guys, nothing really sticks out to me, and the UI, again, is just painfully dull, dude. For a game with so much riding on it, Bungie really didn't seem to care much about presenting their shiny goodies in like a very tantalizing way, I gotta say. It just kind of looks like someone made the UI in like 5 minutes and went, yeah, and here are the skins, buy them please. At least Fortnite's UI for their cosmetics looks appealing. Marathon's just, it looks about as lifeless as the world, man. Like, another controversy that also erupted around Marathon has been that Bungie has allegedly also asked game reviewers and websites to not score Marathon a proper review until more content is released for the game. I'm not kidding either. As you can see here, this is the official press release from Bungie, which reads, Marathon launches worldwide. There is no embargo on any coverage, impressions, live streams, VODs, or assets. You can publish content as you play the game. However, we ask you to hold your full review and impressions until you play Cryo Archive, Marathon's pinnacle endgame zone and experience. which will be unlocked in the second half of March. To be clear, this isn't a mandate, but a request suggestion. This is weird to me because essentially Bungie isn't necessarily saying you can't review the game, but the way that they're wording it, it makes it seem like if you do publish your review prior to this cryo archive endgame mode being available, that your review will then be seen as incomplete in comparison to others, if you will. Which, when it comes to gaming reviews, like, they are a collective. All these people know each other, right? The websites and such, I mean. So naturally, they're probably all going to now hold off collectively until cryo archive releases, which in my opinion is a bad idea because it's disingenuous to do that just because Bungie decided not to release that content that is very obviously ready for release. I mean, come on, it's coming out in the same month the game debuts. Like, that's ready to go. It's bad because this is, I'm going to say it, review manipulation in a sense if anybody falls for it. It will mean that most reviewers will not score the game out of respect for Bungie, I guess, but it will then put the paying customers out here with far less information as well to gauge whether they should buy in or not as they wait for those reviews. And personally, I think that's not only wrong, but really stupid actually, because this cryo archive endgame mode, right? It's not during the launch of the game anyways. If it was, then obviously it would be out right now, which means that the game would then not be scored based on what's available day 1, but instead on day 20 or something, which isn't even fair to other games around it because no other game gets that. So Marathon, if you ask me, should be judged for what's in the game the first day it releases, which is what it has right now. Cryo Archive should not be a part of the conversation at all for the review score of this game. And personally, I would carefully watch to see which outlets withhold their reviews due to this now being something that's out in the wild. Because to me, by them not scoring it now, it's going to be seen as review manipulation, really no matter how Bungie tries to frame it. It would be like a movie saying that you can't review it until like the director's extended cut of the movie comes out months later. That doesn't make any sense. Was the extended cut available day 1? Is that the version that most readily is available to the public? If the answer is no, which is likely, then it should not be that way then. It just comes off as gross to me. And again, if Marathon was being met with more fandom than it is, maybe they could get away with this. But with the numbers that they're pulling, it's anything but that in actuality. Even Bungie superfan Paul Tassi of Forbes can't hide the fact that his goats might be washed this time, as seen here from his latest article where he flat out states that the player counts are concerning to say the least. I mean, it's good at least to see that Paul actually has to face the music like this because you can't make what's going on with Marathon seem like it's a good sign of what's to come. This game, honestly, it should have been easily able to bypass 150, maybe 200,000 players concurrently day 1 on Steam. I mean, come on, right? It's not full price. It's from Bungie of all people pretty much, who made Destiny, for crying out loud, yet it's not happening. What it tells me is that Bungie's reputation has clearly been tarnished for a while now, and for so long. Like, Bungie's been able to skirt past all the problems they've had, you know, plaguing their studio, by always promising their players and fans that good things are to come, you just gotta wait. But people are rightfully sick of this at this point. Like, Bungie has underdelivered so many times, so frequently. I've played thousands of hours of Destiny, okay? I played Halo, all of them, I know, alright? That it's not even if Marathon isn't delivering, okay? Bungie is just under-delivering all of the time. Like, even Destiny 2 is all but dead at this point as well. The thing about Marathon is this game needed to be a massive slam dunk mega hit right away. This could not just be okay, especially at release. Like, Bungie was considered at one point the premier FPS game studio, right? That revolutionized the genre. But frankly, it seems like the people who actually delivered those amazing games, they may not be there anymore. I mean, Marty O'Donnell is definitely not there anymore. And Destiny's music has not been nearly as good because he's gone. And at this point, with how poorly Destiny is going, and Marathon kind of just being what it is, I mean, I have to ask the question, guys, like, are they cooked? Is this it? Are we actually witnessing the heat death of Bungie in real time here? Because allegedly, according to Paul Tassi, again of Forbes, as seen here as you can see, Bungie will not consider Marathon a success in their eyes unless it is in the top 5 most bought games of 2026. Which currently, I mean, is that going to happen? I'm I'm not really sure. I mean, maybe, right? If they slash the price to $20 and enough people buy in, I guess it could happen. But currently what's going on here, like, I'm somewhat not convinced this will be hitting even Resident Evil Requiem or whatever Crimson Desert makes when that comes out either. It probably doesn't help also that an indie game came out the same day as Marathon called Slay the Spire 2, which has completely eclipsed Marathon to humiliating degrees. So Marathon hit high 80Ks in its first day on Steam. So what do you think Slay the Spire 2 hit then? 90, 100, 150? Look at this, dude. In its first day, Slay the Spire 2 hit 450,000 players concurrently on Steam alone. A massive success if I've ever seen one before. And by the way, Slay the Spire 2, that's a deck building roguelite game. Like, some may say, well, it's not an apt comparison. You're right, it isn't. Because why is an indie game studio with a fraction of the budget of Bungie or the pedigree behind them able to 4 or 5 times their player counts the same day that their game releases like this? What should have actually happened was Marathon cannibalized everything around them. Instead, everything around Marathon is cannibalizing Marathon. Like, Slay the Spire 2 is $33 Canadian at release. Marathon is $50 Canadian. These games are both not full price. So you can't even pull the, but Marathon is a full price game card, if you will. You can't do that. No, it doesn't work here. Marathon getting mogged by an indie game on its release day, it's embarrassing, okay? It is what it is. How is Bungie supposed to apparently reach top 5 in sales for the entire year when there's indie games that are niche, by the way, like a deck builder roguelite is able to outperform a first-person AAA shooter from the guys that made Halo? Come on. The FPS fan base should have showed up for Marathon, right? The extraction shooter fans. I mean, let's be real. Arc Raiders turned a lot of people who weren't normally fans of extraction shooters into believers. Like, that's great. That's good for them. So then here's Marathon, right? In theory, almost 6 months later removed from the Arc Raiders hype. It should have been a natural fit for these sorts of players to then latch onto this to at least try it out at release, but it didn't happen. My honest opinion is that I think that the server slam for Marathon did more harm than good for Bungie. Like, that, I have to admit that now. That is definitely what happened, because they allowed people to try this game out for what it was for free, no less, right before release. So any curiosity, right, or hype was pretty much annihilated by that free weekend because people went and tried it, and less than half of them came back during the game's full release. My opinion is that if Bungie and Sony want Marathon to stand a chance, some things definitely need to happen, and really fast. 1, make the PvE way better than it already is, which is probably not going to happen. And 2, in case you don't know already, Marathon wipes your guns and gears every season, resetting you back to 0. This has been a very unpopular trend in extraction shooters for very obvious reasons, and to really nobody's surprise, the most successful one lately, Arc Raiders, despite being in the same genre, does not do that to you. And Marathon now also has to adopt that and do that as well, because losing all your guns and stuff is stupid. If people can't keep their guns and their gear and whatnot, they have to be able to keep more than what Bungie is allowing at least. Otherwise, what's really the point of playing in the first place? And thirdly, if all else fails, Bungie has to pull the same move they did with Destiny 2, but, and this is key, not be as cagey about it. So in case you forgot, right, remember when Destiny 2 player counts fell years ago and Bungie made the game free to play suddenly? Of course, like, yes, the expansions and more that costed real money, which still divided the fans, rightfully so, but anyways, if you ask me, Marathon is going to need to be free to play, but not gate any content whatsoever to someone who plays it for free or pays for it too. I can already hear some people asking, but then what about the people who bought it at like first release? Well, good question. The logical answer is that Bungie announces that the game is now free to play. However, they give the people who did buy in day one exclusive cosmetics and weapon skins and charms and titles and player cards and more that only they can have for being there day one. And I don't mean like one skin for one shell. I mean like it has to be pretty substantial in terms of like a big thank you to those who actually bought in and believed into the game day one. And then I guess you could maybe offer skins at a premium for like the free players if they want that too, but if they get FOMO, you can get money that way too, or maybe just not, and just make them exclusive. It doesn't matter, but whatever. Look, the point here is that these sorts of games, they need players to live, right? And the reality is if your game is $40 USD at launch, and it's pulling the numbers that it is right now on Steam, you need to address the problem fast and quickly before this becomes something it was not planned to be, like offline in 6 months. Look, I'm not saying that 80,000 players are bad, it isn't, but this is not the performance a AAA game from a story developer and publisher should be getting day one on something like this. This needed to be Battlefield 6 numbers on release, another Destiny 2 day one kind of situation in terms of fanfare and reception, but it hasn't been that. So many people, like me also, were watching from the sidelines, watching with curiosity, like a car crash happened or something, right? And we're looking at it like, oh, I wonder if they're going to survive or not, because none of us are really willing to buy into this game right now, and I don't blame them. Because the volatile nature of this business means that you could get cooked and the game could go offline, so many don't see a point right now. A healthy live service game can obviously make numbers. Obviously it can, I'm not denying that. Arc Raiders, Fortnite, Marvel Rivals, and many more, they proved this already. They all cracked the code, if you will, but Marathon needs so much more than what it has right now if it wants to survive. I'm sure on PlayStation the game likely has an equal level player count, maybe it's even higher. I genuinely do wonder if Bungie was even able to secure maybe 1 million sales in a day or not. Even if they did, is that even enough for them? But to some, all of this is a non-issue, because you have Shroud, who's a streamer obviously, who said that he believes there's zero chance that Bungie takes Marathon offline because Marathon is backed by Sony. I can't show you the clip though, because Shroud might probably copyright strike my channel if I do that, but here's a screenshot of the clip where it originated from, like with the story as you can see here as well. Sorry that I can't show it, I know it's stupid, but anyways, what Shroud says about Marathon in that clip, having like zero chance in terms of being taken offline due to being backed by Sony, it's kind of not true at all, considering that Concord was after all also backed by Sony when it released too. And by the way, in case you forgot, Concord was funded by Sony with that entire $400 million cash payment that they used to make that game. Not only that, but Sony even bought Firewalk Studios, the makers of Concord, prior to that game's release too, turning them also into a first-party studio under Sony's umbrella. Despite all of that, and having all the advantages thrown their way, you know, being a first-party studio and all of that, we all know Concord massively underperformed, died, and now doesn't exist anymore. By definition, it really, let's be honest, like Bungie fits that exact same template as Firewalk did too. They're both first-party now since Sony bought them as well, and Sony also funded Marathon too. But it's actually more dire for Bungie, because while Concord was $400 million or so to make, Bungie was bought by Sony for an eye-watering $3 billion when that acquisition happened, meaning that Marathon has far more riding on it being successful than Concord ever did. And that was $3 billion just for the studio. That didn't even include however much Marathon cost to make, not to mention whatever Destiny is costing them right now too. So actually the whole there's no chance is kind of just cope, if I'm being honest. There's absolutely a chance, a big one actually, that this could be it for them. I mean Bungie, I'm not saying I want it to be that, but I have to be honest with the facts that are in front of me. And let's disprove Shroud some more, because why not? Saying that Bungie has no chance of closing down or facing the music is just not true at all. Because didn't Sony, as seen here in 2024, lay off 220 employees from Bungie specifically due to the ongoing loss of revenue of Destiny 2 back then? I guarantee you that people who got laid off were also working on Marathon as well, so claiming that Bungie is some impenetrable fortress is just not realistic at all. They are not immune to layoffs clearly, nor failure, as one Reddit post shared via Bloomberg 2 years ago, as you can see here. Not only did Bungie lose 8% of its workforce via the mass layoffs, they also missed revenue targets by 45% too. None of this is good, but Marathon doesn't seem to be giving people what they want either way. Like, Bungie has always been an FPS studio, right? I know that. But they've also been a studio that prioritized single player content alongside the multiplayer too. In Halo, besides the multiplayer, you had those legendary campaigns. In Halo 3 even, you had the Forge maps where you could like build things with other people in the community. In Destiny 1 and 2, you had the strikes and the campaigns. Stuff like the zones and the lost sectors, like things you could easily play solo no problem. In Marathon, in terms of single player content, I guess if you can even quantify it as that, you can play as Rook, which is a shell that's only available as a solo outing, if you will, where you like enter matches that are already in progress to collect loot and then run away pretty much. But beyond that, Marathon doesn't have a campaign. It has no actual cinematic story missions or anything like that. Instead, all its lore and story is relegated to text dumps via the main menu, where you sit there and listen to some robot in-game talk to you about it instead. It's the classic showing and telling, making it the worst of both worlds pretty much. Like the way Marathon does story is like, imagine if like in Halo 1, instead of blowing up Halo at the end like the ring, you instead just cut to a black screen and the Cortana stands there with like a screen behind her of the Halo thing blowing up, and she goes, so yeah, you blew up Halo. No, you don't get to play it though, but it happened, trust trust me, because we were there. I'm confirming it, by the way, in this lore dump that you're listening to right now. Like, if you ask me, that would be pretty lame. I mean, Destiny has been doing this since forever too, right? A cool cutscene happens where your guardian is usually not even in it. Then it cuts to people talking and you stand there listening to people speak until they let you go and do other things. It's crazy to me that Bungie has doubled down on doing it this way again. Like, in a good game, Marathon would be what it is, but also have an actual expansive single player campaign too to flesh out this world. They could have had lifeless shell bodies littered in the environment where you plug into them and then play a mission from the perspective of that shell before they died in some cinematic mission to find out what happened to them, or learn clues of like what's around you. Like, you plug into a shell and then you play their game and then you find out, oh crap, there's a lever over there that I didn't even know because this shell saw it and now I saw it, so now I can go find something that I wouldn't have found otherwise. That would have been cool. An open world like single player game, right, where I could explore this Tau Ceti world, find out its secrets, help the factions, learn of its characters and lore. That would have been really cool. Instead, it's an extraction shooter where I collect metal components and any story is just relegated to something like a big green head in my main menu called Oni, telling me how cool things used to be around me but not showing any of it because that would require more than what the game offers. It would be like me making an RPG game but not letting you see any of it, but let me just go oh, this game is so cool, like I fought a dragon in this game and I cut it down, but what's that? You want to see a cutscene of that or play for yourself? That's just too many resources. Now you see, I was in this really lush, beautiful landscape. What's it look like? Just imagine a lush, beautiful landscape, okay? And also imagine I had a really cool sword. What's the sword look like? You know, a cool sword. Just imagine it. Like, what's the point at that point, right? Like, just frankly, like, it makes the whole thing just feel pointless to me. At least in Dark Souls and such, which Bungie takes inspiration from as well, when they allude to a certain boss in an item description, there's like a 90% chance you'll eventually run into that boss and see them for yourself, so there's a payoff. Marathon's story is like everything cool happened off screen and now you're just learning about it via industry-picked voice actors telling you in boring static lore dumps on like a menu screen instead, and you're gonna like it. It's like going to a party when the party's already over, and instead of like having a drink, you're like taking sips from like red cups that are on the ground. It's kind of pathetic, honestly. And if you don't like this, somehow you're a bigot or a grifter or whatever other convenient word masks this like inept ability to give you what you want to have in say like Halo or what you were used to in like the Destiny campaigns even. I think this user perfectly encapsulates how I feel about Marathon, where they said this: Marathon is the coolest looking game I have no interest in playing, and it really is just that, man. Like, all of this insane art direction, the cool sound effects, the interestingly weird, unique music, and it's all wrapped up in a genre of a game I frankly have zero interest in playing myself. Why you would waste all of these resources and time and ideas on a bog standard extraction shooter is exactly why what's happening is happening right now. Look, I get it, right? Bungie is a live service studio, that's fine, that could work to their advantage. But how the hell we went from Destiny to this is just confusing at the best of times. All anyone wanted was a Destiny 3, a fresh restart where Bungie could take all the lessons learned from Destiny 2 and make a truly generational next generation live service shooter RPG game. Instead, they thought to waste their resources on this, and I'm never not going to be sad about it. They could have easily taken the Tau Ceti landscape, its characters and world, hell, even the art direction, just all of it, and then place it into Destiny no problem. Connecting the Marathon and Destiny worlds would have made total sense as well. I mean, Marathon is a universe with weird aliens already and threats in it too, just like Destiny. Just combine them, make it all one thing. Why are you splitting it up? Why are you dividing your player base from the same studio into two different games? Extraction shooter gameplay could have easily been implemented into Destiny. Drop your guardian on a map with no guns or armor. They have to scavenge, fight others. You already have the enemy types and then some. You could have made exotic quests and faction quests from what already exists in a Destiny-styled extraction shooter gameplay experience. But now it's not to be. And now, if Marathon dies because it's nothing anyone wants reasonably, and who can blame them, honestly, Bungie just might be cooked now for good, and the fate of Destiny by proxy, all because Bungie wanted to waste time on this, when they should have been allocating all of their resources into fixing Destiny 2 and making a Destiny 3 instead. What a waste, man, but that's what it is. Like, I'm sure more will happen, wouldn't be surprised, honestly, if my next video is inevitably about more Marathon mishaps, so I apologize in advance if it is, but I'm not really happy about this either way. Like, I gotta be real with you, I'm not dancing around going, wow, Bungie's dead or something. Like, I'm not celebrating this. I'm sick of seeing these studios waste their talents on these things when they should be fixing what they already have instead that works. Like, if Bungie was a ship at sea, Destiny is the hull of the ship and it's leaking water like crazy and nobody cares. But instead of fixing it, Marathon is like making the captain's cabin look really cool and sway, and all while the ship is still gaining water and we're starting to sink. Sure, everybody on board's gonna drown, but I mean, have you you seen that captain's cabin? Isn't that art direction just sick? What's that? The crew is dead. We're going under. Damn, if only we had fixed the hull, but I guess it doesn't matter either way now, huh? Well, that's how it goes, I guess. And again, thanks to War Thunder for sponsoring this video, and remember that new and returning players on PC and consoles that haven't played in the last 6 months can also receive my massive bonus pack that includes multiple premium vehicles, exclusive vehicle decorator Eagle of Valor, 100,000 Silver Lions, and 7 days of premium account. It's available for a limited time only, so be quick and make sure to click the link, and thanks again to War Thunder for sponsoring this video. Will Marathon survive? Or is this it for Bungie? I guess let me know in the comments. Thank you for watching, subscribe. I'll see you guys next time, but man, what could have been, dude? It's such a shame.